Imagine this. You're lying right next to the person you vowed to spend your life with, the one you truly, deeply love. The room's quiet, maybe even peaceful, but inside, your heart is screaming.
Hmm.
You're physically there, maybe holding hands, but emotionally, you feel miles away, like oceans apart. Is that even possible? To feel so utterly alone while sharing a bed?
It's a really profound question. And sadly, it's a reality for, well, far more people than we might think. You're welcome to our engaging conversation segment on Healthy Relationship Plug.
Yes, welcome. Today, we're shining a light on a quiet, often unspoken yearning. Many women feel a craving for true intimacy that goes, way beyond just the physical side of things.
Exactly. It's about uncovering those deep needs that, when they're actually met, can transform a marriage from just kind of existing to truly thriving. We want to explore why sometimes, even in seemingly close relationships, one partner might feel completely emotionally invisible.
Totally invisible. And we'll look at why this emotional side is so vital and maybe some practical steps to nurture it.
And I think some of what we'll talk about might even challenge some common assumptions about what really makes a marriage strong. It's not always what you think.
Okay, so let's think about a couple, let's call them Amara and Emika. Married 3 years. One night, after they'd been intimate, Amara finds herself crying. Silently.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just lying there, staring at the ceiling, trying so hard not to make a sound. She's afraid he'll hear her, get annoyed, or just brush it off with that, oh, you think too much line.
That's just heartbreaking. It's such a painful situation, isn't it? To be married, sharing that closeness, but feeling so isolated right in that moment.
She loves him. She really does. But lately, it feels like he only really chooses her, only really sees her when he's in the mood.
That's such a lonely place to be. Feeling like your value or desirability is tied only to those moments, it really undermines your sense of being cherished for who you are.
And this feeling, it often leads into what we might call a kind of transactional trap. Amara started feeling like every touch had a motive.
Like it was calculated.
Exactly. Every compliment felt like it was leading up to a request. Every kiss was just a warm-up. And she started asking herself, is that all I am to him?
Yep.
Just a body.
And that question, is that all I am? That cuts deep. It touches on the core fear of not being truly seen or valued for your whole self.
It really does. So one night, she works up the courage, sits on the edge of the bed, trying to keep her voice steady, and just says, I want more than sex.
Wow, that takes guts.
Totally. And his response, a sigh. Just a sigh. And then, here we go again. You're always looking for something to complain about. Don't you know I love you?
Oh, that's tough. That kind of dismissal, even if unintended, just shuts down the conversation, doesn't it?
Completely. She just nodded, to keep the peace.
That-
But her eyes, they told a totally different story.
And this disconnect is so common. It often happens when partners, maybe unknowingly, are speaking different love languages, as you mentioned earlier, or they simply don't grasp the other's fundamental need for connection beyond the physical.
Yeah, like he might think showing physical affection is showing love.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Exactly. And she's thinking, but I need to feel connected before that. And when affection starts to feel like a transaction, like it's only offered with an expected return, well, it slowly eats away at that feeling of being cherished, just purely loved for being you.
So let's talk about what that more looks like. For Amara, real love, true intimacy, wasn't just something felt in bed.
Right. It's bigger than that.
Much bigger.
Yeah.
It was felt in the conversations they used to have. And laughing together over dinner, taking long walks, praying together even, those small, thoughtful gestures. Or even just sitting together quietly, doing nothing much, but still feeling completely seen, like he got her.
That holistic view is so, so important. It nourishes the whole person, heart, mind, soul. When intimacy gets narrowed down to just one thing, other parts of the relationship can start to blur.
It makes you think back, doesn't it? Amara remembered when they were dating. Emeka used to call just because, ask about the book she was reading.
Yeah, the little things.
They'd talk for hours about everything. Their future, their dreams, how many kids they wanted. There was effort, curiosity, a real friendship underneath it all.
That friendship piece is key, and it's often the first thing to fade when life gets busy.
Totally. Now it felt like a routine. Work, eat, sleep, sex, repeat. There was no depth, no real intimacy connecting all the dots.
And it's easy to slip into that pattern. You think, well, we're not fighting, so things must be okay. But meanwhile, that emotional connection, that friendship is just drying up.
Like an emotional desert. That's a really good way to put it. Mara talked to her friend Ugochi about it. She said, It's not that the physical isn't important. It is. But it can't be the only way he connects with me.
And what did Ugochi say?
Ugochi kind of sighed knowingly and said, men, sometimes they just don't see it. For a lot of them, sex is how they feel close. That's their main way of showing love. But for us women,
Yeah.
well, often we need that emotional closeness first. We need to feel connected before the physical.
That's a pattern we see a lot. And it's not about saying one way is right or wrong, but about understanding the difference. For many women, feeling emotionally safe, feeling known and valued for who they are, that's what opens the door to truly fulfilling physical intimacy.
Otherwise, it can feel empty.
Exactly. Empty. Like a gesture without the heart behind it. Amara's plea really captures it. I want him to see me, not just touch me.
And that desire to be truly seen, truly known, that's not just Amara. So many women feel this way. Emotionally invisible in their own marriages, even when they're right there.
Touched, maybe, but not really held. Seen, but not really known. Heard, but not really listened to.
And the loneliness that creates.
Wow.
Even when you're literally next to your spouse, it's profound.
It really is. It's a silent kind of suffering, creating this invisible wall between partners, often without the other person even realizing it's being built. The quiet tragedy playing out in many homes.
And let's be super clear. Physical intimacy is good. It's important. It's a gift in marriage. But
Thanks, Carl.
it becomes a real problem when it's the only way affection gets shown.
Right, when it's the default or the only time warmth is expressed.
Yeah. When a woman starts to feel like sex is just a transaction or the only time her husband is truly engaged with her,
Yeah.
she naturally starts to pull back emotionally. Her body might be there,
Yeah.
but her heart, it's slowly packing its bags.
That's such a powerful image. And it's like slowly starving a plant. It looks okay for a bit, maybe, but inside, it's withering. And what's really interesting is how much this is backed up by, well, just observing couples and understanding relationships.
How so?
Well, it turns out that feeling emotionally connected, truly seen and understood, consistently ranks as a huge factor in marital satisfaction, often even more significant than how often couples are physically intimate.
Wow. So the emotional connection actually fuels the physical, not the other way around.
Precisely. Other observations confirm this too. Couples who make time for real talks, who prioritize that emotional bond, they report higher levels of intimacy overall. And yes, that includes physical intimacy.
So it's like the emotional connection is the foundation.
Absolutely. Think of it like the operating system for your relationship. If the emotional OS isn't healthy, other things, including physical intimacy, won't run smoothly. They'll glitch. That emotional bond creates the safety, the trust, the vulnerability needed for physical intimacy to be truly meaningful, not just an act.
That makes so much sense. And we hear this in people's real stories too, like Ngozi, who shared her experience very openly. She said, I stopped initiating sex with my husband.
Okay.
Not because I wasn't attracted to him anymore, she said, but because I felt like a stranger in my own home.
Wow. A stranger?
Yeah. We hadn't had a deep conversation in months. He didn't even know I was struggling at work. Every night he'd reach for me, but during the day, he wouldn't even ask how my day was. I felt used.
That's incredibly honest and brave of her to admit that. Feeling used within your own marriage, that's a painful place.
He really is. And she said something crucial. I had to say something before resentment completely killed our love.
That really hits home. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many couples are facing that silent erosion where resentment is building because the emotional needs aren't being met?
Exactly. Which brings us to, okay, what can we actually do? If you're listening and thinking, sounds like me, or I feel a bit like Amara or Ngozi, what's the way forward?
Right, the practical steps.
First step,
Yeah.
try to communicate clearly, not just emotionally. Sometimes men especially appreciate things being spelled out plainly. It's not always intuitive.
That's a great point.
So saying something like, when physical intimacy feels like the main way we connect, I start to feel unseen and I really crave hearing about your day or just talking together more, that's very different from just saying, you don't love me.
Absolutely. One invites understanding, the other can feel like an accusation. Clear, specific language gives your husband something concrete he can actually respond to, rather than just feeling defensive or confused.
All right. Second, ask for connection in small, doable ways. Don't wait for a grand gesture that might never come.
Yeah, start small.
Suggest simple things. Hey, could we take a walk together this weekend? Just us.
Yeah.
Or how about we put our phones away during dinner tonight and just catch up?
Those small steps build bridges. They show what you mean by connection in a really practical, non-threatening way. It gives him an easy way to say yes and start rebuilding that bridge.
Third, and this is so important for us as believers, pray. Pray for your husband.
Amen.
Seriously. Ask God to open his eyes, to soften his heart, to help him understand your need for connection on all levels. Prayer invites God's wisdom and power into the situation.
It really does. It reminds us we're not alone in these struggles and that God can bring understanding and healing in ways we can't manage on our own.
Fourth point, don't suppress your needs. Feeling emotionally connected isn't a luxury item. It's a core need in a marriage. It is okay to desire more than just physical touch.
Yes, please hear that.
Don't diminish what you need to feel fully loved and valued. Your feelings are valid.
Absolutely. You're created as a whole person. Heart, mind, soul, and all of you deserves to be cherished. Pushing those needs down only leads to resentment and isolation. Voicing them, even gently, is an act of love for your marriage and for yourself.
And finally, if you feel really stuck, if you've tried talking, tried praying, and your husband still seems unwilling or unable to hear your heart, please reach out for help.
Don't suffer in silence.
Talk to a wise mentor couple, a pastor, or a trusted Christian counselor. Getting an outside perspective can sometimes unlock things.
Definitely. Sometimes an objective third party can help you both communicate more effectively and find new ways to connect. There's absolutely no shame in seeking guidance. It's a sign of strength and commitment to your marriage.
Because marriage, really, it's meant to be this safe harbor, right? A garden where you both flourish, not a battlefield, and certainly not an emotional desert.
That's the goal.
So if you consistently feel like you're begging to be seen, begging to be connected with emotionally, then yes, something isn't right. Something's broken.
But, and this is the hopeful part, it doesn't have to stay broken. There's always, always hope for healing, always time to amend, to rediscover each other, to rebuild that connection.
Always. So remember, you listening right now, you were never created to be just a body. You are heart, you are mind, you are soul, and all of you deserves to be loved, cherished, and truly seen.
Beautifully said.
So, thinking about all this, what's one simple, maybe even courageous step you could take this week? Just one small thing to start cultivating that emotional garden in your own marriage.
A great question to reflect on.
Keep these conversations going. Talk with your spouse. Pray together. Never stop investing in the emotional and spiritual richness of your bond.
We really hope this conversation has been a helpful, maybe even vital plug for your healthy relationship.
Would you too? Please join us again next time for more engaging conversations designed to nourish you, heart and soul.